All right, wrestling fans, Aaron Hurt, the Conqueror Chris Cruit, here with the latest edition of The Real Truth About Pro Wrestling as we see it, as a journalist and an announcer, as a pro wrestler and a promoter, and boy, do we have a lot to talk about. We skipped over last week. We had some technical difficulties, and Kevin and I talked about our thoughts of going into WrestleMania, but I'm sure that we will have just as many, if not more, about what happened at WrestleMania and the postscript, and as well as the situation in AEW, which, definitely it's hard to really put that into context yet, almost. It's like that's kind of still happening in a way. We're still seeing how that works out, but we've got a hard out here of about 30 minutes because we're getting ready for a big show here at the PW.
Big show, PWA Legacy Arena. We're ready.
That's right, but we're going to jump right in and talk about WrestleMania. I mean, no sense in really trying to structure the conversation along any particular lines. Just give your thoughts overall on day one or day two, and then we can talk about how everything played out. You want to go ahead and get started?
Yeah, they kind of it all blurs together for me. I remember some of the key moments from each day. The main event tag team match, The Rock and Roman against Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. I think it checked all the boxes it needed to check, especially with what happened the next night with Roman and Cody.
Absolutely. The detractions, I think, from that match were the fact that by the time it came on, it had to be freezing cold in that building. That really had to affect the crowd, and people, were a lot, less engaged, at least compared to night two. And the match did go really long. I mean, they did a lot of walking and talking in the crowd, but when they got it back into the ring, it really started clicking when they, when it sort of turned into a tag match instead of just two groups of dudes brawling around.
I bet it wasn't cold in the ring. I happen to know they had the heater system rocking and rolling. And I think when WrestleMania was in New York, New Jersey, what was that, 28?
Yeah.
It doesn't even seem like 12 years ago.
I know.
It's crazy. They said that the heating system that went through the ring post, it was 30 degrees outside, and I think it was like 78 in the middle of the ring.
Right, yeah. They said that, it was amazing and how comfortable it was, because I remember it just seems like bizarre. It's like, what do you mean? That the ring posts are heated? Like, wow. I mean, that's something that only a company that big can even factor into their budgets. It's amazing. But yeah, Rock didn't look like he was breaking a sweat. And I don't know.
Nobody broke a sweat. No, everybody that was I said it at the end of every match. I said, "Guy's not even sweating. What is going? I don't know if it was the temperature or what, but nobody had sweat on them when they left the ring.
I
was sweating watching the matches.
But just to kind of quickly run through the highlights for me of day one, I liked Rhea and Becky. I thought that was very good. Apparently, Becky is going to be taking some time off.
I'm okay with that.
I am too, and I think Seth Rollins is as well.
Let's remember the old territory days. You only worked in the territory for, a year, 2 years. 3 years was a long territory career.
Right. At the end of a program like this would mean that at the very least you are off for 6 weeks or whatever, or you go to another territory and you start doing a program with somebody else and with plans to come back in 6 months.
So I get you don't want to pay somebody to be at home and not work, but when it comes to the long road, I think if Becky is your girl and you still want her to be around, I think you set her to the side for 6 months.
Well, and there's also, I believe, there's talk. I don't know how how based in fact this is, but that Becky and Seth are both, their contracts are up for renewal in June. Apologize,
Water break.
Yep, but that they're both due to renegotiate their contracts in June, and so this is
who is Becky
and Seth both.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere.
Right,
they got the keys to the castle.
Absolutely, but
regardless of how they've been used.
Yeah, but
Seth has been featured.
Yeah,
and I don't know, Becky. I think the flair's gone for me. No pun intended.
Well, no, I think that she's established enough to the point where she can almost become like a John Cena type, big star. Short runs but impactful runs. But with Seth, people were commenting about how sort of awkward the run-in at the end of the night 2 main event was. I saw another angle of that from the fans. He just couldn't get into the ring, man. His knee is just
he looked dead.
Yeah, and so it's good that guy gets some time off because he was working with a hurt knee for 2 months.
You need it though, especially with the we talk about we're always pining away for the old school. There's something to be said about that, but also you got to move forward. And there's a lot of TV right now, and there's not just more shows, but there's longer shows, and you've got to get people on there. So when Seth Rollins is a champion and he's out there every week, if he goes away for 3 months, 4 months, how big of a pop will he get when he comes back?
Well, now that spot is up for grabs for a bunch of hungry guys that are begging for it. LA Knight, Damian Priest, Logan Paul, Gunther. There are so many guys, Drew McIntyre.
It's the 92 Rumble.
Yeah.
Sid Justice, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Randy Savage, Earthquake, Mr. Perfect might have been gone at that point. But it was like everybody looks back at the 92 Rumble and they go, how many stars? Yeah. Jake the Snake Roberts, there were so many stars in there. We are at that period.
Yeah.
This isn't like, no offense to Rene Dupree and, Rob Conway. We have got, some of the tippy top guys or guys that are creeping into that tippy top spot.
Well, okay, even somebody who's really just on the cusp, like an Austin Theory or Grayson Waller. I mean, they're not going to draw next week, but next year, 2 years, they're going to be, top heels if they keep going the way that they are. And they've got, with what they did with Tama Tonga and the Bloodline stuff on Friday on SmackDown, really, that's got another year in it now because we know that Jacob Fatu is coming in. What happens when Roman comes back? What happens when Rock comes back? That's sort of, further down the line. But the Jimmy and Jay Uso match was the biggest dud I've seen in ages at WrestleMania.
Sometimes you just have that. It's that perfect storm that passes by.
Yeah. But, people popped like mad for the run-in in night 2 when Jay came out and speared him like 15 feet off that ramp through a table.
And it's not to say that Jimmy and Jay aren't amazing in the ring because they are. It didn't gel that night.
Yeah, well, it was like in a fighting game when you have to face your own character. It's just like
that was always weird. Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
finish him.
But
fatality.
Night 1, I think, for the first time since really WrestleMania 37. Night 1 didn't outperform Night 2, and I think in the end, it almost, with the hindsight, you don't think about the negatives of Night 1 as much as you did following that show, waiting to see what happened on Sunday.
Well, Night 1 didn't feel like you were being punished, like you weren't with the cream of the crop.
Right.
Night 1 felt like just the first night of WrestleMania.
Exactly, and Gunther and Sami Zayn was incredible. And the story they told, they had the crowd, all the way down the line for that whole thing. And they can go with Chad Gable now with Sami Zayn.
I wish they would have went with Chad Gable.
I think had they
I don't like Sami.
You know what though? This is kind of almost is like a consolation for them not putting the belt on Sami in Montreal. And now, definitely in hindsight, those people who were clamoring for
him to be the champ, to beat Roman.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Oh, my God.
No, well, obviously
that suitcase is empty.
Yeah, that would have been,
set it down.
Clearly the wrong move considering where we are now. But Night 1 did what it needed to do. It didn't have – I don't think it had the drama of Night 2, and I think the temperature affected the crowd a lot.
Absolutely.
And some of the matches were really long, and there were a lot of long breaks between the matches. And that always – we know here any downtime at a show –
it's a crowd killer.
Yeah, and even sure, there's a stadium of 8,000 people and merchandise to buy and all of that, but people still want to sit down and watch a show. But I thought Night 1 was good, but I thought Night 2 really had some great matches on it. The angle that they did with Seth and Drew at the beginning and Damian Priest, I thought it was good as a match and an angle.
I could. If you want to talk about a perfect match, perfect angle, perfect setup, that there wasn't much missing in that. I really liked the uncomfortableness. It felt like it was just going to end that way with Drew McIntyre on the announce table, and when Punk, to everybody's surprise, just grabs his feet, yanks him out from underneath of him, takes off the arm brace. All the marks are
it could have been
crazy.
worse. He could have front face locked him,
Oh, well, see, Aaron, you're moving on to our next segment.
Well, it's just a bit of foreshadowing.
But then the kiss that he blew to his wife,
Yeah.
all the inside marks are going, oh, that was real, and that's great.
Yeah.
That is great.
Well, and to me, the story ends if that's it. Drew McIntyre's now.
I wish they would just pretend everything's real.
Yeah.
And don't speak it like, oh, I think that was real. Just assume it's all real. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's so much more fun.
Well, Cody was heavy on the kayfabe when they were asking him about, like, so when did you know you were losing last year at WrestleMania? Well, when I got speared and heard the 3 count. Like, really? Come on.
I've got a funny story about the spear. Rhino said he was talking in an interview the other day, and he said that nobody has ever kicked out of the gore.
I would not.
Ever.
I would not be surprised about that.
He said if they ever kicked out of the gore, it was just a spear.
Yeah. Oh, well, there you go.
It wasn't the gore.
There you go. That's how you protect your finish.
But everybody that was losing their mind last year, Cody deserves it. Cody, number one, deserves is so stupid and subjective. Everybody deserves everything. So he deserves $5 million and the belt. Well, how about $100,000 in the belt?
Yeah.
I think he'd rather have the $5 million. So that's what he deserves, whatever his contract is. The belt, that's subjective. But for all the people that lost their mind last year, oh my God, that's just the stupidest thing. Think about the last year you've had.
Yeah.
Think about the last year you've had with Roman, and think about the build to this year.
Absolutely.
And think about how excited you were this year when you finally got what you didn't get last year.
This is the kind of stuff that if there were, when you think of younger fans or newer fans, that they might have been watching for a year or so, but this is the kind of stuff that when it gets this good, it hooks kids for life. Because we were those kids at one point, and it not only that, but it will encourage those kids' friends to be like, oh, maybe I'll check it out. And so not only do you hook the fans that you have harder than you already had them, you are going to get a bigger audience. It's just going to sort of, multiply on itself because of all of these positives that they've managed to string together. And it's just coming out of this WrestleMania, I haven't felt this good about the sport of pro wrestling in a long, long time.
I've been privileged to live through now. This is I think the third cyclical cycle of this.
It seems like the start of it for sure.
We had obviously the big boom in the 80s with Hogan and Andre, and when I look at Hogan, like there was nobody bigger. Then you had the Attitude Era with Austin and The Rock and all them, and now I don't know that this belongs to any one person or any one thing. At least it hasn't been named yet, other than the Triple H era. It's time to play the game.
But there's no one true obvious catalyst in the way that Hulk Hogan was or Steve Austin was. It is more of a team effort. It's more a combination of things.
It feels more about the WWE, but yet at the same time, it doesn't feel like that. Let me explain. Like when you go to see the Harlem Globetrotters, you couldn't name a guy on the team. You go to see them have fun.
Right.
WWE for years, for the last 20 years or so, it's been sometimes John Cena, but it's been more about WWE as a name brand.
Yeah.
Now it feels like that's what's popular, but it's because of all of these guys.
Right. The combination of their individual
success. If that makes any sense.
No, it does. It makes the combination of their success has created interest in not just the one thing the company wants to feature. That you have guys that, if necessary, you can put any one of a number of guys in main events, and you're building new guys. And I think that's a factor. Before we started recording, we were briefly chatting about the differences in the management structure at WWE, and I think having people where there's a Nick Khan, there's a Triple H, there's not one guy trying to micromanage every
Vince
department.
McMahon is now 5 different titles.
Absolutely, and I think
it's great.
I think that creates a lot more continuity and a lot more predictability, which you have to have from that corporate standpoint.
Well, one of the things we said, Dana White, if you do the comparison, which I think it's fair now, especially them being under the TKO umbrella.
Yeah.
Dana White, he's not in charge of merchandise, but if he's standing on a podium and says, make that shirt, there's somebody who's that's their job, and they know it's their job to keep Dana White happy also, and that shirt will be made tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
But he won't have to design it. He won't have to press it. He won't.
And he won't feel compelled. He won't feel like that he can't trust the staff that exists to fulfill those roles.
So it was weird at first when there was a Nick Khan and a Triple H, because like, that feels like Vince McMahon light. But Nick Khan focuses on the business.
Yeah.
Triple H focuses on the business of the creative and creating the stars. And I think as long as they give him the opportunity, so far I think he's hitting it out of the park.
Well, night 2 really just continued with the streak. Like we said, they have the title.
Well, night 1 we also had the tag team title match, didn't we?
Yeah.
The ladder match.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that.
I thought that,
anybody but New Day.
I thought that confining sort of the spot fest guys to that one match made it so we weren't having the repeats throughout the card.
But it wasn't even just all like high spot, crazy spots. It felt like they were telling a story, and there just happened to be a ladder there.
I thought that the three-way match on night 2 had a similar feel to it in that it wasn't rushed. It wasn't just plotted out in obvious stages.
Was that Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, and AJ Styles?
Or Orton. Yeah.
I think I fell asleep.
It was really good because they gave a reason. So basically, Orton and Owens just jump Paul from the bell, and then they both go for a cover at the same time, and they're like, they sort of square up and like, you want to do this now?
I saw that part where didn't he like yank him off and he went to hit him or something?
And then Orton tried for the RKO, and then they're just like, screw it.
That was it. That was it.
Hockey fight. Like, to me, the match was on right there. And Logan Paul is a phenomenon, the likes of which we haven't seen since Kurt Angle. And
Logan Paul is the guy that WWE and WCW, brought in off the streets, off of social media for years and years, that just wasn't quite there. And Logan is not only there because they put him there. He puts forth an effort. He is good. He is strong. He is solid.
He has timing. He has facial expressions. He is already a worker and a con man and a schemer, so he didn't need to learn that bit,
And I don't want to say he's a natural because I'm sure he's put in – I know he's put in hours and hours, if not hundreds of hours.
But there is no need to qualify him as a celebrity wrestler or as some kind of outsider.
He's a wrestler who happens to be a celebrity.
Exactly. And, the fact that they're giving him an opportunity to sort of progress without being really shoved down people's throats as we want to make him a heel, we want to make him a baby face. They're just letting people react to him.
He's just arrogant. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
But
can you imagine, because he's right along the same line of, can you imagine if MJF was in that mix?
Right.
Because he's right in that same, got that same attitude.
Give it a year or two, I say give it a year or two because I'm sure he's sitting back watching all this stuff that's going on, and I will pick up your segue here in just a moment.
There's security camera footage of him watching.
Yes,
maybe.
But
they'll play that on Raw next week.
We talked about how successful the main event was. I want to put over the Bayley and Io Sky match also because that match,
very good.
Very good. The crowd were so behind Bayley they almost forgot to watch the match. Mm-hmm. They were just like having a party, and Io Sky went out and worked as well as I've seen her ever work, and that is high praise because she is truly gifted in the style that that she learned and she does. It's just
the girls match was. I hate even calling it the girls match because it used to be that it was like that was the draw. It was the girls match. But these girls are they're so good. They're so good.
They really do have enough talent to do an all-girls show and it not feel secondary.
Well, or you got enough talent to where get rid of Becky for 6 months.
Yeah, right.
Not even cracking on Becky.
Like we were saying,
let her go away and learn a new move, as they always said.
Yeah, come back when you learn a new hold, exactly.
A new painted coat.
Yeah.
But give her. I think in the long run, I think it'll continue to behoove them and improve the product.
They've got some talent coming up in NXT. I mean, they brought Tiffany Stratton up, and she's already over. I mean, surprise, surprise on that one. But she is athletic as all get out. Like,
is there an issue though if they all become LA Knights?
Right.
What do you do?
I know, and I think that you have a problem with a bunch of guys in the mid card that can't go anywhere. I think they're very conscious of that, especially with the main roster guys right now, because they don't want to have wasted opportunities. But I think we both agree that the state of WWE is as solid and as looking as good on the horizon as it's been.
Absolutely. LA Knight has not held any of the titles. And he is and has been as over as anybody.
Yeah, and he's like the 4th or 5th babyface.
How crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
insane.
Yeah, I mean,
what are we? This is happening again.
Yeah, and
it feels so much different this time.
I agree.
It feels so much different. You know, it felt like what they were doing at the Attitude Era versus now it feels like it's because of who's doing it and where they're doing it at.
Well, they've let people have their own personalities. They're not all micromanaged. They're not, having originality filtered out of them. You know, and if something works, if something hooks the fans, they're encouraged to do it. They're not punished because it happened in spite of somebody else's preconceived notion. But we are almost we're over 2/3 of the way, so we'll dedicate the last third of our, because I'm fired up, man. It's a good thing we got a wrestling show to do.
My God.
You know, we're going to have a packed house. We're going to see some great action down here at the PWA.
April 27th, that'll be our next event for the people listening to this.
And that's the one that we're building up like it's going to be WrestleMania. You know, we're
PWAOhio.com/TIX. TIX.
It is the best value in independent wrestling within, I'd say, a 300-mile drive. But
true.
I look. I don't go small when I boast, but but obviously the
so now the night was it night 2 of WrestleMania night 1 WrestleMania, AEW Collision.
Yeah,
AEW Collision's on the air. Tony Schiavone does a hastily produced voiceover that says, "Hey, tune in this Wednesday. We're going to show you some footage."
I thought it was such a work. At first, I'm like, it's going to be some kind of parody spoof thing, and then Meltzer and everybody else, Sean Ross Sapp, they're all like, "No, this is for real. They're really showing it," and people were just couldn't believe it. I didn't even really believe it until I saw it, because I was trying to picture what am I going to see, and I couldn't conjure up anything.
How are they going to disappoint us? Yeah. And they surprised us and they disappointed us by giving us exactly what they promised.
Yeah. Well put. I think there are really like 3 topics of conversation related to this subject. One, you have CM Punk essentially being proven right about exactly how he described it.
I think maybe we know what we're talking about. Maybe they'd. So in August, All In, AEW's presentation at the Wembley Stadium, there was an altercation between CM Punk, who is now currently a WWE performer, and Jungle Jack Perry. And the Young Bucks said that they were going to show the footage, the security camera footage of CM Punk and Jack Perry backstage, and everybody started losing their mind, going, "Oh my God, either CM Punk has been lying to us, or this is going to make them look really silly." Yeah,
and it was definitely the latter.
Well, because CM Punk says that him and Jack Perry had an altercation. Jack Perry said, "If you want to do something." And then CM Punk said he pushed him. CM Punk said he choked him up, and Joe broke it up.
And then he looked at Tony Khan and said, "I quit."
He said, "This place is an effing joke. You're an effing clown, and I quit." And then they showed the footage, and I could not absolutely believe. Oh, no, he was telling the complete truth.
Yeah, 100%. And for those who, want to get the full context on this, if they don't already have it, Punk told his side of the story on Ariel Helwani's podcast, which is found easily on YouTube. Fascinating listen, because he went into detail about his return to WWE and all of the stuff with AEW. But yeah, he's the most over babyface, or one of the most over babyfaces on 2 shows now.
Yeah, he's drawing ratings for 2 different. I mean, how absolutely insane is that? Because during the Young Bucks, when they made their appearance, they chanted CM Punk.
I know.
You failed.
Yeah.
You missed the mark.
Oh, completely. But there's the incident itself. There's the damage this does to AEW as a promotion, or just the bad look that it has. And then there is what they're going to do with it afterwards. And they're on the wrong end of all of these arguments. Because last night there was New Japan had a big show in Chicago where Jon Moxley beat Tetsuya Naito to become the New Japan champion.
God bless you.
Yeah. But it's a weird kind of deal, because they just put the belt on Naito, and it was like a seemingly something everybody wanted, and he was drawing.
If wrestling is real,
yeah,
it could happen any night.
That's true. But Jack Perry had a match, and he got a very mixed reaction from the Chicago fans, as you would think. But they're trying to play it up. He had this jacket that said, "Cry me a river." To me, it makes him look like an even bigger tool and a joke and a clown than this whole thing, even before that, because he doesn't have the cred to try to have that pose about this incident, in my opinion. I mean, that's just from what I see of him as a wrestler, and I've seen in regards to, this situation.
Well, and then the same night that they spent valuable TV time showing CM Punk choking out one of their guys, or trying to, Will Ospreay comes out, and Triple H made a comment about guys not wanting to be a part of the grind. I'm glad I didn't get you. People think, justifiably, I guess they think they were talking about Will Ospreay, and then Will Ospreay says, "I like the grind. The only reason you got the job you got is because you grinded on the boss's daughter." It just feels lowbrow.
Well, it's
not even creative.
We're talking about a revival and a resurgence here, not to talk about FTR, but that joke belonged 25 years ago,
And it would have been hilarious.
Yeah, but I'm sure Chris Jericho made it somewhere in 1999 or 2000. But I think that AEW has shot themselves in the foot so badly, and it's amazing because they've got Edge, they got Bryan Danielson, they've got Okada. I mean, they've killed Jay White.
Well, I think Edge is, God bless Edge. Edge has been everywhere.
He's kind of Randy Savage in WCW.
But Edge is like, I got all these first-time matches that I get to do. It's not about the matches.
No, CM Punk on that podcast says, that's why he didn't want to. I mean, his response, trying to come up with an answer to Helwani's question when they were talking, it's not about selling tickets. It's not about making money. And what is it about? Having good matches, I think, And then Edge comes out and completely justifies that comment, and the comment you made about the valuable airtime, that's exactly what Punk said on there. Why are you wasting TV time on this indie crap that costs $100,000 a minute for this stuff? And, he really just made the case for everybody who wants to consider AEW minor league, and that's the one thing that they cannot have.
They need to they've got such good talent. They need to create and craft stories to go along with those talent, to go along with those good matches, because good matches in and of itself will only fill up so many seats.
Well, you know what? I think if you had to come up with an answer to that problem, off the top of your head, I would say Edge and Bryan Danielson might be two guys I'd want to book that show, or at least
Edge just wants to have one-offs, though.
I guess, but
he's like, there's 30 guys I want to have one match with.
I mean, maybe I don't. I think they have to have obviously more focus in the booking. The stories have to make more sense week to week. They have to connect to each other.
Well, look at the Bloodline story.
Yeah.
If the WWE doesn't do DVDs anymore, but when they do a documentary or a docu-series,
this is 2 discs already.
At least. Yeah. You can do a disc on the Sami Zayn part of it.
Right.
And now it continues.
Right, because we still know Jacob Fatu is coming, but we haven't seen him yet. But Tama Tonga came in last night and just, shut an entire arena down.
Yes,
and had Paul Heyman look like he was ready to, have a stroke. It was beautiful. I loved it. But we are running out of time here. We got to get ready for our big event, so we got just about 90 seconds, a little bit more to give some final thoughts, so go ahead.
I on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give WrestleMania. We'll give it a grade school scale. I think solid A, solid A.
Yeah.
Maybe not an A plus, but a solid A. 95, 96.
Definitely. The few complaints one would have are
so minor.
Yes, exactly. And I think that even without AEW's help, they have established themselves as the organization to be the be-all and end-all of pro wrestling.
They've got more talent on the sidelines than the other group has at all. You've got CM Punk on the side now. You've got Rollins on the side. You've got this guy whose contract's up. You got this guy whose contract's up. There's Charlotte Flair hasn't wrestled in how long?
Braun Breaker just came up to the main roster.
Yeah,
Braun Breaker and Gunther.
We got the draft coming up.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
What is 27th
and 29th?
27th and 29th. It's going to be super. This is the first No Vince McMahon. I love Vince. I think he screwed up every draft, in my opinion.
And one quick note, Vince McMahon does have his remaining shares of TKO stock listed for sale. He is going to be completely divested after that transaction.
What's he do after that?
He's got a 12-month no-compete and about $2 billion added to his bank account.
Hey, Vince, call me up. 7-4. Never mind.
But we are going to wrap it up. We've had a very exciting conversation. We could talk for another hour and a half, but we will come back. We hope you enjoyed this. We'll come back.
We talked for an hour and a half. Then you said, hey, let's go turn on the microphones.
We are going to close out this edition. We hope you join us here at the PWA Legacy Arena